Paul, who was arrested in Jerusalem, got on the boat to Rome for his trial. Aristarchus, a Macedonian from Thessalonica, went with Paul, and a centurion named Julius delivered them. To get on the boat to Rome, they arrived in the city of Myra. The boat to Rome was there, but the journey was put off because there was a lot of luggage and it was very windy. It was winter and there was a strong wind in the Mediterranean Sea at this time. So most of the boats were on land, and just a few boats sailed out to make big profits. Because Paul made tents for a living, and thanks to his many missionary journeys, Paul knew just how dangerous it would be for boats to sail across the Mediterranean Sea at this time. So he said, "Let's spend the winter here, then head to Rome. If we leave, not only will we lose the boat and everything on it, but also our lives will be at stake." However, the centurion got on the boat with Paul because he thought that the captain and ship owners would know better about the sea than Paul. At first, calm wind from the south started to blow, not long after the boat sailed off. The captain and ship owners seemed to be right at first, but then things began to get worse. Like what Paul predicted, high winds started to blow. A very powerful northeasterly wind called E.194 started to blow. The boat got swept away in the wind and waves. The crew began to throw cargo off the boat, and people began to lose hope. Just then, Paul said to the people, "It would have been better had we not left at all, but God tells us, 'Do not be afraid. We'll all reach an island with no lives lost.'" But no one seemed to be listening to Paul, and the boat drifted on the Mediterranean Sea for over 10 days. In the crisis, people began to lose hope. With nothing to eat, they were hungry and thirsty. Everyone was tired, but Paul looked out on the boat and the sea. Then they realized that they'd reached an island. Paul acted boldly. He suggested that people eat. And as if in a communion, Paul took the bread and gave it to the terrified people. People ate food that was touched and prayed by Paul. Now everyone, including the centurion and the captain of the boat, obeyed Paul. And astoundingly, all 276 people on the boat safely arrived on the island of Melita. When they arrived on the island, Paul showed the people a few miracles. A snake bit Paul, and people on the island thought that Paul would die, but he didn't. Paul also healed the father of the ruling person of the island who was suffering a bad fever. Many others on the island were healed by Paul. So people on the island took care of Paul and his people and helped them with many things when they left the island. The people on Paul's ship must have been so thankful towards Paul. But in fact, they should have been thankful towards God, who was with Paul on his missionary journey. Even in the midst of the storm and the many difficulties in Melita, God said to Paul, "Do not be afraid, do not worry, for I am with you."